And those stories are fascinating because what happens is, you know, the lawyer working on the legal team with the experimentation team became fascinated with experimentation and was like, I want to learn more about that. And then ends up, taking some courses and then becoming a CRO specialist, right?
Welcome to Experimentations Podcast. I am your host, Charlotte Bamford, and we're going to have a chat with Kelly Wortham today. I'm sorry, I'm hoping I said your last name correctly. Kelly, you have an extensive experience on website testing, optimization. Kelly, she loves to test and learn. That's why she named the community from the words test and learn. It's very interesting. Kelly, would you like to tell us more about your experience?
Sure. So I've been in the experimentation industry for about 25 years,
Oh, wow.
and been I got into the industry from academia, and part of the reason love to teach and learn, and the test and learn community is part of that. It's an opportunity for folks in the industry to teach and learn and
Oh, wow.
converse,
It's amazing.
and that's what it's all about. And so we wanted a way to continue the conversation in between the events, where we all get together and learn from each other, but those don't happen as often. And we wanted to continue that conversation in between. So that's how it was born, almost 12 years ago
Oh,
now.
wow.
And so now we have that community, and that Slack home that continuous conversation that we also have once a month online, and continuously some online events and in-person events as well.
That's actually very cool. Like when CRO wasn't even a thing, you were already there making history. And so I'm just curious, how'd you get into CRO like 25 years ago? It's interesting. Like how was A/B testing 25 years ago?
Well, people have been doing experimentation long before they were doing digital experimentation. And 25 years ago, we were still doing offline experimentation. 25 years ago, when I got into the realm in academia, we were doing experimentation, and then I started doing email testing. There was a company that I worked with that doesn't exist anymore called Circuit City. And we were doing email testing back then,
Oh, wow.
because that world existed. And we had to do everything in Excel spreadsheets, which was a lot of fun. So subject line testing and stuff like that. And we were also doing offline testing to understand the impact of our display advertising, to in-store footsteps. So measuring those types of things back then.
That's gotcha. So in terms of like, what were there any courses back then to go into? Because like, right now I'm thinking about advertising as a degree, or like arts and something similar, Bachelor of Arts, something. But back then, are there any types of courses where you can learn how to do A/B testing?
Well, you could learn quantitative and qualitative stats and research, statistics in any degree. That's actually what I taught when I was teaching university, which is how, when I transitioned to what I call the real world, I was kind of eager to do that type of work. And actually, my first job in the real world was in inventory
Oh,
forecasting, which was
wow.
incredibly not exciting, but that's okay. So I was real excited when I switched over to Circuit City and actually got to do some of the actual email testing. But that those courses exist. And actually, Dr. Ellie Fight teaches folks those exact courses
Oh,
today at
wow.
Drexel University. So if you all want to learn, if any of you are listening and you want the opportunity to learn what we do today in this field, you can go take Dr. Ellie Fight's courses at Drexel University.
That's good. That's a really good one. So you know, like if I'm like a new marketing person, I'm like, I want to do CRO. Who's the best person to talk
Yes.
about it or to listen to? That's it. Is it like an online course or in person or anything that's, self-paced? And if you're talking to someone who is new to CRO and want to get into this field, right? Which type of learning style would you recommend?
This is Romo Santiago from Experiment Nation. Every week we share interviews with and conference sessions by our favorite conversion rate optimizers from around the world. So if you like this video, smash that like button and consider subscribing. It helps us a bunch. Now back to the episode.
I personally like the in-person courses, but there are a lot of amazing online courses. So Ruben DeBoer has a lot of online courses, Udemy courses that are amazing. You can go to conversionideas.com and see a lot of courses that Ruben offers. Online Dialogue has a whole bunch of courses that you can take. Those are in person. They're amazing. Sneak peek, Ruben's coming to the US to bring some of his courses as well. We'll be co-teaching them. If anybody's interested, let me know. Hit me up. And
Hi, Ruben. I'm a
pick
fan.
the city.
Yes.
Me too.
Yes.
I'm a super fan, which is why I asked him to do this with me. So if you all are interested, let us know. We're trying to pick the first city, and we'll be doing this cohort based. So we're going to do it at least twice. So if y'all are interested, let us know. We're going to pick the city and figure out where we're going to do it. So you can go to Online Dialogue's website, see what's going to be in that content. And we're bringing that to 2 U.S. cities probably in the next 12 months. So that content is amazing. And I'm not just pitching it because I'm a part of it. It's amazing content, which is why we're bringing it to the U.S. because it's a difficult time zone to do it online, and it's much better content in person. Of course, everybody knows about CXL's training. It's also excellent. But one of the things that I like about cohort-based training versus online training is you actually get to talk to your instructors and have access to those instructors. And by the way, CXL is trying to figure out how to do that. So then Ken Williams, Doug Hall, Jill Quick, and myself are also starting some cohort-based training. And the difference between the training that you do that's like online and the cohort-based training is the cohort-based training, you get the content like in person or online together with the teacher. And then you have like the people that were in the class with you, and you have the access to the teacher over a period of time in some sort of Slack group or Teams group or something for some period of time for continual Q&A. And the people that were in the class also have access to each other for some period of time to activate whatever the course material was. And that is really, really powerful because until you've tried to put what you learned into action, you don't, like we all know, until you try to actually do it, you don't really activate what you've done. And so that's really, really important to me as somebody who, got started as an instructor, as a professor. Like, I know you haven't really learned it until you try to do it.
I agree.
So that's really important to me.
It's like a mega ideation classroom, and you can present like different things and then people bouncing off each other. That's actually quite really good. When did you start becoming an instructor? Like, I'm just curious, was it like
I went out of high school, into college, into grad school into being a professor. So I've always been a teacher, first and foremost, because one of the things that I learned right away is I don't know something until I've really tried to teach a concept. And it's kind of like when you're trying to learn something, you have to try to teach it first. And if you can't really explain it, you don't really understand it.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's when you find out that you don't understand it, when you try to explain it to somebody else. In fact, if you know that you need to understand something, try to write a blog post about it. And that's when you figure out, oh, I don't understand that concept. And then you go and you interview all these people that do understand the concept until you understand it. Then you go write the blog post. And by the time you've talked to all the people who do understand it, you will understand that concept.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's the best way to learn.
That's actually,
by the way,
yeah.
Another reason I created the TLC. Surround yourself with the smartest people in the room. You get people to ask really great questions.
I agree.
That's why I always say there's no dumb questions. There aren't. Like, it's amazing. You have all these brilliant people in the room to learn from, and you just continue learning because everybody has different ideas, different perspectives, and I've learned so much from everyone. It's my favorite place in the world.
Yeah, it's kind of like sometimes you'd be surprised that some people think out of the box when it's a fresh eye kind of thing. So it's like, oh, I haven't really thought about that before unless someone, has presented the idea. And that's very interesting. Now, my question is like, okay, because you're an instructor yourself or a teacher yourself, so it's kind of like we're talking to a group of people who wants to learn CRO. If you're someone who is in that position, how would you evaluate, like you saw a course, right? How would you evaluate the credibility, the quality of that specific course or instructor? They usually have those, like things that you're going to learn. But how would I know that that's something that is worth the money to pay for?
I would look at the reviews and the testimonials. Absolutely. There's going to be a wide variety of costs associated with them. I would absolutely consider your available time, the quality of the individuals that are, giving the training. That's something to consider. The convenience, is it in your city? Do you have to travel to it? I would look at all of that stuff, but also, is it a match? Like, is this something that's where you need to be? Is it way above your head, way below? I would look at all of that stuff. Like, there is content that is exciting because the person that is giving the content is a name that you really, really recognize and you get really excited about it. But the truth is you don't need all of that because you already have 40% of it. You already know. And, the other part of it is like too technical or whatever. And then there's another situation where you have to travel to it and you're never going to get budget for it. So like, take everything into consideration and find the right fit.
That's right. Yeah.
But also there's other content that's free.
Oh, wow.
It's a perfect fit. There's a lot of free content on YouTube
and even
that's
LinkedIn.
Really solid.
Yeah.
I mean, very blunt. Ruben has made a ton of amazing content available. Amazing, either free or really reduced content available. Yes. I'm going through his Airtable course right now, which is awesome. If you all have not taken Ruben's Airtable content on Udemy, you need to go look at his Airtable content. so good.
Udemy
Like,
has a personal plan at the moment, and you can just access Ruben's
yes.
course anytime. Like, I found his GA4 course when, GA4 was just starting, like very, very helpful. And it kind of like shaped how I started reporting on
Yes.
things. And yeah, that's why I'm like, Ruben he's so easy to listen to, very understand. Like, it's like he's so good at explaining things. And hi, Ruben,
Yes.
again, I'm a fan. And
Yes. Yes.
so, any specific topics or any modules that, should a person look for in a CRO curriculum? Like, where do you think a person should start?
Well, I'm a big fan of UX, psychology,
Ooh.
like, yeah, a lot of people don't think about that, but the psychology of like uh the user journey. So that piece of it. Of course, related to analytics. So, GA, Adobe, whatever. Definitely the statistics of how you calculate sample sizes. Those things are
Important.
important, and often missed. And it's sort of the foundational stuff, and a lot of people will dive in with just like usability, and they'll miss the core statistics.
Yep.
So that's a must. Um, and I mean, if you get those three, you're probably ahead of pretty much so everybody else. The technical stuff is important, but those three are probably the most important.
I agree.
As far as I'm concerned.
I think when I was starting CRO as well, it's like the sample size was a big, blunder on my end a few times. Like, I would look at the pages and it doesn't have enough visits, and the statistics doesn't matter because it's the sample size too low. And so I agree with you. Like, it's just one of those blunders when I was starting with CRO that I remembered when you were talking about sample size, and it's very true. Now, this is a big question probably because a lot of people may not have experience with marketing but wants to go to CRO. Like, if you're a developer, can you be a CRO specialist? Or, are there any recommended background knowledge or prerequisite or any background in terms of the type of career that you have for taking CRO courses, or anyone can do it?
Anyone can do it. That's what's so beautiful. I was on the jury for the Women in Experimentation conference that is about to come June 6th. Register and go attend this beautiful online conference.
You have the website?
Some of the great stories. Yes. The Convert Women in Experimentation Conference, June 6th. You can go to LinkedIn to register to attend. It's free for everybody. Please attend these amazing conference. But one of the things that some of the stories that were submitted were people from outside the industry who became experimenters, and the stories that they told, which were amazing stories, like people who came from project management, people who came from law.
From
and
law.
because
Wow.
Yeah, right? Why not? But that was the point, is like their perspectives were really interesting stories. And those stories are fascinating because what happens is, the lawyer working on the legal team with the experimentation team became fascinated with experimentation and was like, I want to learn more about that.
Wow.
And then ends up taking some courses and then becoming a CRO specialist, right?
Wow.
And so saying the project manager working with that team is like, I want to take some courses, and becomes, and those stories are pretty common. Same thing happens where the experimentation specialist working with the product team decides, I want to move to become the product owner. And so there's a lot of movement that can happen. And those stories are interesting, and there's no reason that you can't move as in your career as you decide where you want to be. You just need to have your mind open and pay attention, be flexible, because most people think I want an upward trajectory, but you should be flexible to that. Growth isn't always up. Sometimes it's across. And you don't have to be T-shaped. You can be pie-shaped or comb-shaped.
True.
You learn what interests you and fascinates you.
I agree. Experimentation has always been fascinating when you're talking about psychology as well, because it's like, what's the person thinking when he was looking at these pages? What is he like looking for? And it's kind of like you're this criminal. Well, I wouldn't say criminal now. Like it's like psychoanalysis. Just wanting to understand the behavior of a human is quite interesting. So I get where the lawyer is coming from. Okay, well, you were talking about people coming in and having like this experimentation community and learning from each other, right?
Yeah.
Are there any other interactive elements or opportunities for practicing, hands-on practice included in CRO courses that you can think about or recommend?
You mean like besides conferences?
Yes, besides conferences, like something similar to what you've mentioned, where all the people, so it's much better to have that group together, right? That you were mentioning earlier, like in person, where you can bounce ideas off from each other, ask questions, like a cohort kind of thing. But aside from that, can you recommend any other places or any other courses that recommends the same thing?
I mean, there's a lot of events, lots of conferences, lots of like measure camps, and like Experimentation Elite is coming, and then the TLC Mentorship Summit is there. Everybody get your seats. The first 90 seats are they're free to anybody coming
Wow.
that has a ticket to Experimentation Elite. It's a big deal, but you have to come to Experimentation Elite in Birmingham, England. So please come.
Oh.
But
are you flying to England because of that, or?
Yeah, of course.
Amazing.
Hosting the event, it's a big deal. And our mentors are, during the mentorship summit. So it's a very big deal. But
I just
those do what?
The mentoring thing is probably one of those that you can also get, right? Just to have like someone to help you out when you're
exactly. Yeah. That's why I mention it. Like mentorship in general is like core, which is why the TLC decided to be a part of that. We're trying to encourage more, like that's the other piece of the TLC, and Experiment Nation, the CRAP community, women in experimentation. It's all about teaching and learning, but it's also about mentorship. That's why we bring in as many experimentation industry leaders and folks new in the industry, because it's about teaching and learning, aka mentorship. So that was like the impetus of the mentorship summit, is to bring in industry leaders as mentors and folks a little bit newer in their career. But the folks newer in their career are actually on the stage.
That's amazing.
And the mentors jury. And so we kind of flipped the script.
Now,
but mentorship is a really fantastic way to learn, whether in person or virtual. And like one of the biggest lessons that I learned in my career, I actually learned it from Gary Angel, is never, ever, ever be afraid to ask a question. and ask advice of your mentor. And one of the questions to ask is, will you be my mentor? Which is, you'll be stunned how rare it is for somebody to say no, because and often they may say, I don't have time, but let me suggest 3 other people that you should ask. But I've actually never had a mentor say no. I currently have 3 mentors.
Wow.
They're like an advisor panel, and they're amazing. I value them deeply, and my time with them is like absolutely precious. And so I highly, highly recommend everyone to have, mentors, plural, and have them as, to play different roles.
Yep.
Have somebody that focuses on different aspects of what you're looking for in your career, and challenge you. Don't just get somebody who makes you feel good about yourself.
True.
Somebody who for what you're trying to grow in your career. Really, really important for your personal growth.
Do you offer mentorship if in case like someone sees this and says like, oh, I want Kelly to be my mentor? Would you be open to it?
Yes. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because the people that know me are all laughing because I have a lot of mentors. Yes.
Okay, amazing. So you said that you have 3 mentors, right? Can you tell me like what their roles are? Like what's the first mentor and what is he mentoring you for? Yep.
Yes. So I have a mentor whose focus is helping me on operational stuff. I have a mentor that's helping me on growing my business. So that's like the marketing side. And I have a mentor that is helping me stay grounded in what my, I guess the easiest way to explain it is my beliefs. So if I want to grow my business, sometimes it's easy to get greedy, but I have a core belief system. So those 2 things can butt up against each other. So the person who is keeping me grounded in my core beliefs has to challenge the person who's helping me grow the business. So the 3 of us meet at the same time to ensure that it's kind of like checks and balances.
Yes. Wow, that would have been a very interesting meeting. I would want to like see how that goes, but yeah, it's very interesting.
It's great. It's great. They love each other, and we're all it's fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. That's what you need. So do you need a certification when you want to go into the CRO industry? And if you do feel like, there are some employers like you have to be CXL certified, because I've seen those. What are the, what are most?
I mean, CXL certification is a thing, and it's certainly a lovely thing to have. But no, employers, a lot of employers wouldn't know what it is, but those who do are very impressed by it. By no means, if I saw CXL certification, I would know what it means, and I would be like, that person did a lot of work. Absolutely. But the employers who don't know what it means wouldn't know what it means. It is a lot of honor for the people who do. Yep. Having said that, it is not, most certifications are not necessary. So you do not need a certification. And, any classes that you can have, any work that you can do, what the best thing that you can have is something like, Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, but the best thing you can have is the name of testing platforms, experience with testing platforms.
True.
And multiple testing platforms shows that you've had experience with multiple testing platforms, which means that you have more than one test experience. And that tells people that you've worked probably with more than one program. And that shows adaptability and experience across more than one program, which shows people that if you've had experience across more than one test program, then you probably have more experience than somebody who's only ever worked in one program.
That's amazing. That's really good. I would say advice to people who are thinking about going into experimentation. Is more about the platforms. There's a lot of platforms out there now paid because, well, there's a lot of paid platforms and there is differences in it.
But you can get certified in a couple of platforms, but honestly, certification doesn't mean anything for platforms really either, to be fair.
True. So long as you know how to work, to do the work, that's the most important thing.
Yep.
Now, here's another question. If in case a person wants to go into CRO, how long does it typically take to complete a CRO course? So do you have a current, how about you, Kelly? Because I know you're an instructor. Do you have a specific course that you're working on right now, or, like that's available for viewers to see? And if so, how long does it take for a person to complete that CRO course, and what's, level of commitment required?
There's a ton of different workshops and courses available. Like I said, you can go to Online Dialogue's website to read about the course that Ruben and I are doing. It's essentially 2 half days with in-course activities. The way it's performed in the Netherlands, it's a half day with a week in between and a half day. But the one we're going to bring to the US, we're going to bring the activities inside the course.
Oh, wow.
And we're trying to decide if we're going to do that in same day so that it's, a little bit easier, or not the content easier, but so that you don't have homework, so that you can do it with us while you're there, and you don't have to travel home in between. Or if we're going to do it 2 full days to make it so that you can do the in-class activities, that's TBD. So it's 2 full days, or 2 half days, TBD that piece. But it is a ton of content, and you can, like I said, you can see that on Online Dialogue's website. The workshops I teach right now are like full day workshops, half day workshops, depending on the content. And they're currently targeted for companies that want to bring me out, but I can do it for cohorts as well. I just need at least 10 people. So, because I have to travel for them. And I don't do them online because they're in-person focused. But you can see those on my website at forwarddigital.org. Then there are courses that you can see and attend at, like I said, on Ruben's website, that are conversionideas.com, that are amazing. And I recommend all of those. They're fantastic. And of course, CXLs are great.
That's amazing. So this thing that you're doing with Ruben, do you have like a date set already, or is it still to be discussed?
So you all can be the first to let us know. You can reach out and let us know, because we are collecting interest to pick the first city. So we need the first city, and we need at least 20 people to sign up. So I need the first 20 people to tell us what city before we decide the date and where we're going.
So it's kind of a
And
race
then
to the first 20.
the first 20 people to sign up, and then we will pick the city and the date.
Oh my. That's a good opportunity. We wouldn't have Kelly and Ruben in, one room ever again. Just kidding. Probably there will be more in the future.
Lots of opportunities.
But lots of opportunities, but this is good. Well, would there be any, like, now that we've talked about if I complete a CRO course, what would be a next step for me as a newly CRO certified or someone who's completed a course? What would your advice be for that person?
Once you've completed training, you can, of course, put out your consultant hat, which is amazing. You can, on LinkedIn, you can say open to work, and you can start listing the things that you're available for contracting work. Dive.team is a amazing consulting firm that will hire you. It's Ken Williams. And he will make you put you on the books anytime he has like contract work. So go check him out. He is looking for people with at least 10 years of experience. So you need 10 years of experience. So I'm assuming that like you have other work in your career before you took on experimentation work. But there are plenty of agencies that are looking for anybody with new experience. So consider them, lots of them. But if your company is looking to add your work, then you just let them know, okay, I've got this experience. I'd like to start doing that. If you just want to do it on the side, then you can start contracting that way by letting LinkedIn know, here's my skills and my availability, open to work. And that's how you start your little business. It's amazing. And then if you don't want to do that, go to, thank you, Kevin and Tom, experimentationjobs.com.
Ooh.
It is the best resource, and it lists all the available jobs that have the skills that you've just earned.
That's amazing. Who was it again who created a crojobs.com, or what's
experimentationjobs.com.
experimentationjobs.com. So if in case you're a newly certified CRO specialist and you're looking for a role, that's the place to go. So yeah, that kind of like concludes what we're talking about today, Kelly. And like there's a lot of things that we've learned today with your time. So we appreciate your time with us at Experiment Nation today.
Yep. It was awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. So yeah, we're going to say goodbye to our viewers now and hope that you learned more things. Again, like Kelly, do you want to go and say the things, the websites where they can go to attend yours and Ruben's conference, or the first 20? Like a lot of people may be interested to sign up and you just don't know.
Sure. So if you want to reach out to me to find out about my and Ruben's online dialogue session, just reach out to me at kelly@forwarddigital.org. That's kelly@forwarddigital.org. If you want to read about the session and see if you're interested, you can go to onlinedialogue.nl. That's onlinedialogue.nl, and read about the conversion the conversion training. It's pretty obvious what it is. And then if you want to learn about the Test and Learn community to join it, just go to testandlearn.community.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Kelly. Well, you guys
absolutely
have an awesome day. Thanks, Kelly.
This is Romo Santiago from Experiment Nation. Every week we share interviews with and conference sessions by our favorite conversion rate optimizers from around the world. So if you like this video, smash that like button and consider subscribing. It helps us a bunch. Now back to the episode.